This video is all about ZWO. We have 8 new things to discuss, and as you might have guessed it, the number 8 is the one you might not have heard about. So stay with me until the end. Hey, this is View into Space. I'm Sascha from Switzerland, so grüezi miteinander, and thanks for watching my channel. If you ask yourself why you should watch this video, as you have already watched a zillion other videos from NEAF talking about all the news, it's because I don't just tell you the facts, I put things in context. Let's just honestly look at it, what I have reviewed, and for whom this really is big news. And we start with the Seestar S30 Pro. So let's for a moment stay with the facts. It's the same size, the same weight, the same focal length. Instead of a triplet, it's now a quadruplet. There's a new main sensor, the IMX585. We will hear about that sensor again later on. And from my point of view, this is also really the big upgrade, this new sensor. And with this new sensor, as it is larger than the old one, we also have now a wider field of view. And then we also have the wide angle sensor, which is now way of a better quality and can be used for Milky Way and star trail images. So as I own the Seestar S30, what's my personal opinion about it? I think first of all, for everybody who wanted to buy the Seestar S30, it's great news. The new sensor, the better optics, the better options with the wide angle camera, which was until now really not usable, at least from what I thought about it. So this is definitely an upgrade, and if you planned to buy an S30, I would definitely say wait until the S30 Pro is released and then buy this one. If you already own an S30, from my point of view, there is no real reason for upgrading. The difference is most likely so minute that you're either okay with the S30, and if you're not okay, then you rather go to the S50. And talking about the S50, this is for me the mystery about this whole thing. Why didn't ZWO upgrade the S50 to S50 Pro? And it makes the thing so much more confusing, which confuses already now a lot of people. Because when the S30 came out, a lot of people misunderstood that this is now the better smart scope than the S50, until they realized it's not. It's just ultra portable. It's cheaper, so it has a lot of advantages over the S50 and is for a lot of people more attractive. But from a quality point of view, the S50 is still the better one. And I feel that the clientele who either has an S50 or wanted to buy an S50 is more hungry for better quality, would also be willing to pay a little bit more than the people who aim for the S30. The S30 could really play its strengths about ultra portability, about being an entry-level model, very economically to buy, while the S50 could slowly go in the area of a smart scope, which is really for the enthusiast who wants a little bit more and still the convenience of the smart scope. So I will be thrilled to see how long it takes that either there is a S50 Pro or an S60 or 70, something that really increases the game again, that goes more in bringing real options to real rigs. So to sum it up, it's nice to have these upgrades, but I would have been more excited if they would have done it on the S50. The next thing, which was not really officially presented, but some people discovered it at the booth of ZWO, was that they will also introduce their own wedge for the Seestar. Now again, this is nothing that makes me extremely excited, as the Skywatcher wedge, for example, works perfectly. A lot of people also realized that simply with the right tripod you can actually change the angle and you can perfectly use it without a wedge. That said, I think for people who come new into the hobby, being able to buy everything in one package, Seestar, wedge and tripod, will definitely make it easier for them. I'm sure that ZWO will then also release some manuals which better explain how everything works together. So from that point of view, absolutely something good to be introduced. And with that, we come to the cameras, which is still the core business of ZWO, right? And here is also the introduction that made me the most excited. And that's the ASI 585 MC Air. Now, first of all, holistically looking, I think there's a theme going on. We have already talked about the 585, which was introduced in the Seestar S30. Now we will talk within the camera section twice about the 585. And on the other side, we will also talk about the 2600. And so when we look at all the latest releases of ZWO, it's always about these two sensors, the 585 and the IMX571, which is in the 2600 series. So it looks like that these are the two chips of the month, the year, whatever. But there's really nothing else going on. Now, does that make sense? I would say yes, with one exception. And the exception would be the 533. I think the 585 is an amazing sensor for a lot of people. It has this small pixel, very dense picture, which is great for planetary, for small objects, for lunar, and which is also good for really an entry chip from a price point of view. The only issue with the 585 is that it's still a rather small sensor. And so I feel that the 533 still has a very valid place, as it has the same quality as the 571 or the 2600, but is still smaller, has this unique square format, and is also a lot more affordable than the 571. So just saying, I would actually hope that ZWO will also release later on a 533 MC Air. I think that would be, from my point of view, even more a perfect entry camera than the 585. But sorry if I drifted away, but that's just a little bit my perception of the sensors. But let's go back. So we have now this 585 MC Air, and I'm excited about because I think it's the perfect camera behind an SCT, as I stated before. Having the possibility that the guiding is right included, which is absolutely crucial on an SCT level, that it can do planetary, that it has the ASI Air included, so not much cables around. It's a real big advantage I see with my 2600 MC Air. I absolutely love this system, and I might actually buy a 585 MC Air for my SCT because I just feel it's exactly the camera I want to have in the back there. And as you can see, this camera should already be available end of this month, end of April. So that's really great news. Next we have the 585 MM Pro. So a cooled monochrome version of the 585 sensor. And I think this is already very niche. That's probably interesting for people who want to do planetary in a mono style, who really need the ultra high res one. So it's great that this exists, but I do not know for how many people this now applies or is something they have on their wish list. Let's put it like this. Last but not least, we have the 2600 mm Air. And this is no wonder given the success of the 2600 MC Air that they would introduce that. And once again, given I know for myself how convenient this air system is, I absolutely see the use case for it, and that for a lot of people this will be exciting. Let me just caution you here. It was once again through a presentation stated that this only works well until narrowband filter down to 5 nanometer. And 5 nanometer is not very narrow, which means if you live in a Bortle 4-3 area or you go most of the time shooting at dark sites, I think this is a no-brainer and makes a lot of sense buying this camera. But if you live in a Bortle 5 or up, you're most likely benefiting from more narrowband filters. And then the question is, do you buy this camera knowing that you will still have to do the guiding externally with another guide scope and simply use the functionality of the ASI-R, which is included in the camera, and that might still be a more compact solution than separately buying an ASI-R? Or do you rather then have everything separate? That's a question which everybody on its own has to decide for. The next is the EAF Pro. And here I have to admit for ZWO, they once did something substantially better than Primaluce Lab. You might remember when Primaluce Lab introduced the ghost mode, which means wireless connection to the focuser, to the rotator, and so on, which was an absolutely great idea. With one drawback, you still needed a cable for the energy. And as many people pointed out, if you have to connect one cable to a device, you can also connect 2 cables to the device, right? That doesn't make a big difference anymore. So ZWO went here with the EAF Pro a step further and included a battery. And with that, it's completely wireless. Now thinking about the Air type cameras, you can practically run a rig without cables, which is cool. And that they even included focuser buttons so that you right at the device can actually focus if you want to, that you do not need the remote anymore like before, makes it even cooler. So when we talk about real innovation, that's the real innovation of NEAF 2025, where we even go more in the direction of smart rigs on a real rig. Now there is definitely one counter argument that things like that are just an additional cause for trouble, be it that the battery is empty, being that the wireless connection has an issue, but in all fairness, we also know enough about cable entanglements or cable defects and so on. So at the end, if something has to go wrong, then it goes wrong. But anyway, I'm really looking forward to test the EAF Pro. I think that's something pretty cool they released. So we have now number 6. So there are 2 things left. One thing is so unspectacular that I don't even will cover it, and that's a new guide scope. It's good that they have it in their assortment, you know, for people who want to buy everything from one provider. It's good, it's there, but it's not really a headliner. But what is a headliner, and what I talked to you at the very beginning, is number 8. And it was actually just mentioned in a Q&A session, and that's the AM7. The AM5N is an absolutely amazing mount. And with up to 20 kilograms, it fulfills for most scopes the duty. Also the AM3, I also had it in my hands, I tested it. Absolutely for a travel mount, just a darling. Really liked having it here, very compact. But I really think they were missing out on the heavy duty mounts. And given that the design of the AM5 and 3 is so fantastic, it would have been a shame to not also have a heavy duty mount for even larger scopes. And so in this Q&A the question was asked, will there be an AM7? And they answered yes, but they also made clear that this is not coming today and tomorrow. From the way they answered, I would guess this will be at the NEAF next year. So still something to look out for down the line, but it's good to know that they work on it. So I hope this was helpful. I'm interested to hear what you think about the new ZWO products. Please leave your opinions in the comments below. Let's discuss it there. See you next time, and clear skies.